Good morning, my fellow patriots. It's your favorite conservative talk show host, Mark Warsh, and I've got a lot to say today. First of all, let's talk about the big game that nobody watched, the Super Bowl. What's the deal, folks? Did aliens from the Great Lakes abduct all the football fans? Speaking of aliens from the Great Lakes, have you heard about the UFO sightings? My sources tell me it's probably just a spy balloon from China. I mean, come on, people. It's not like the government would actually tell us if there were aliens, right? But on a more serious note, let's talk about the train explosion in East Palestine, Ohio. I've got to say, this is getting out of control. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all those affected by this tragedy. So, folks, it's going to be an interesting show today. Buckle up and grab your favorite beverage because we're in for a wild ride. You know, folks, it's always a big deal when the Super Bowl rolls around, but this year it seems like there was a bit of a disappointment when it comes to viewership. Now, I know what you're thinking. Mark, the Super Bowl is still one of the most watched events on TV. Well, sure, it's still up there, but the numbers are down compared to previous years. And that's a trend that's been happening for a while now. And yet, advertisers are still flocking to the Super Bowl. They're still shelling out big bucks for those 30-second ads that you, my friend, are paying for with your attention and your purchases. It's just another example of how the rich and the famous love to glorify themselves, and you're the one who's funding it all. But let's be real, the Super Bowl has become more about the halftime show, the commercials, and the parties than it is about the actual game. And with the cost of tickets and the cost of cable TV going up every year, it's becoming less and less accessible for the average person. Get ready to indulge in a new level of crunchy goodness, introducing Sugar & D's Nuts, the premium nut snack that will blow your taste buds away. Made from the finest ingredients, our nuts are roasted to perfection and seasoned with a touch of magic. Whether you're looking for a midday snack or a crunchy addition to your meals, Sugar & D's Nuts have got you covered. So don't wait any longer. Click on the link for more details. Trust us. Once you try our nuts, you'll never go back to ordinary snacks again. Get your bag of Sugar & D's Nuts today and elevate your snacking experience. Use promo code WARSHD'sNuts for 5% off. So what's the conclusion here, folks? The Super Bowl is becoming less and less relevant to the everyday person and more of a spectacle for the wealthy and the famous. And yet, advertisers are still pouring money into it. Just food for thought. Folks, have you heard about the recent UFO sightings over the Great Lakes? My sources are telling me it's just a spy balloon from China. But you know what they say, just because it's a balloon doesn't mean it's not full of hot air. But seriously, folks, it's a little suspicious that the media and the government are being super sus about this whole spy balloon thing. I mean, if it's just a harmless weather balloon, why all the secrecy? It's almost like they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes. And you know what they say, if it looks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, then it probably is a duck. But in this case, it's a spy balloon, and we need to be cautious. But let's not get too paranoid, folks. After all, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you. I crack myself up sometimes. In all seriousness, though, we need to stay vigilant and keep our eyes on the sky. Who knows what kind of shenanigans the government and the media are up to? Folks, we've been talking about a lot of lighthearted topics today, but let's take a moment to talk about something that's truly serious. I'm talking about the train explosion that took place in East Palestine, Ohio, just over a week ago. This was a tragedy that affected so many people, and our hearts go out to all those who were impacted by this event. To think that a small town in Ohio could be flooded with chemicals just so a railway could be opened is truly heartbreaking. And now we're being told that there were 3 more chemicals on that train that derailed, and they're dangerous. It's a sobering thought, and it just goes to show how important it is to be cautious when it comes to these kinds of things. So let's take a moment to remember the victims of this tragedy, and let's also think about the importance of being careful and responsible when it comes to the handling of hazardous materials. We need to make sure that something like this never happens again. That's all the time we have for today, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the show and learned a thing or two. Whether it's the low viewership of the Super Bowl, the mysterious spy balloons, or the tragic train explosion in East Palestine, Ohio, there's always something new and interesting to talk about. And remember, it's always a good time when you're listening to The Mark Warsh Show. So until next time, folks, this is Mark Warsh signing off. Have a great day.